Okay, the time is 4:02 and the City of Hardy will convene its City Council meeting. This is a special meeting of the Hardy City Council, 4 p.m. on February the 21st. First topic on our agenda is our call to order today. We'll go right into our Pledge of Allegiance, if you'll please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you please join me, remain standing for our invocation.
Our Father, we ask your guidance and direction on all of the deliberations we do today. We want to be honest as we serve the people of Hardy in this community. So we ask that you would direct our thinking and our discussion. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. You may be seated. Just for the record, please note our recorder treasurer is not with us, so we have our deputy clerk here today. Our recorder treasurer had a meeting in Little Rock, so I introduced Miss Caitlin Murphy as our deputy clerk today. Will you please proceed with the roll call?
All right. Penny Allen.
Here.
Tony Berry.
Here.
Mark Gordon.
Here.
Laura Smith.
Here.
And Sue Taylor.
Here.
For the record, will you call?
I moved on the wrong, sorry.
No, you're fine. For the record, will you go ahead and call for Mr. Junior Wise?
And then Councilmember Junior Wise.
He was
Which will be
absent for this meeting today. Okay. Is that a quorum, ma'am?
That was a quorum.
Okay, thank you. On to new business. We have two items to discuss here today at this special meeting. Item is number one is Ward 2, Position 1 Alderman / Arkansas Attorney General's opinion, number 2023-006. You all have been provided a copy of the opinion number 6 from Attorney General Tim Griffin. If you all will take a second and go look at it with me, please. I'd like to make a couple notes to bring to your attention. I've made everybody a copy, but I don't have my copy in front of me.
You mind?
I think she's grabbing one right here. Thank you. Okay, this is a letter dated February the 15th. So Hardy City Council had their city council meeting on the Monday of last week, and I received this letter Thursday afternoon, 4 days after we met. This is a legal opinion from the Attorney General of Arkansas. You all have had time to read this, but I'm going to ask you to please flip to the second page of 3. And I'd like to discuss with you guys the 4 paragraphs on here. So I'm just going to read these aloud so we're all on the same page. A vacancy in office occurs when a duly elected office holder dies, resigns, or is otherwise rendered ineligible to continue in the elected office. When such a vacancy arises in a city of the second class, such as the city of Hardy, the city council appoints someone to fill the remainder of the term. It says, your question does not describe a vacancy in office because the candidate who withdrew but later received the most votes never held the office. They go on to say, instead, your question describes a vacancy in election. Under Arkansas law, when a candidate for elected office withdraws from the race, dies, or is otherwise rendered ineligible after the ballot is certified, but before the election, all votes for that candidate are still counted. If that candidate wins the race, a vacancy in election is declared. The purpose of such a declaration is to prevent other candidates for that seat from being declared the winner. A vacancy in election does not, by itself, create a vacancy in office. I think that's one of the key points you all need to read right there. This is partly because the Arkansas Constitution provides that the incumbent is legally entitled to continue serving in the seat to which he or she was elected. The term elected is also defined as the word appointed in this instance, until the next person is duly elected. All officers shall continue in office after the expiration of their official terms until their successors are elected and qualified. This continued service is called, quote, holding over. See footnote number 7 there on the bottom. Therefore, since Mr. Creasy withdrew from the race after the ballot was certified, but before the election, and since he received the most votes, a vacancy in election should have been declared. That declaration has 2 consequences. One, the other candidate for the position is barred from winning And 2, the incumbent is entitled to hold over until a successor is duly elected at the next general election. So I contacted our state representative that covers Hardy, and this is the response that he received from the Attorney General's office. You have to be a member of the legislature to request an opinion. So his service to us was getting this opinion to us. Had we had it the Monday of our last February meeting, we could have addressed this at our regular scheduled meeting. We didn't receive the opinion back from the Attorney General's office in time. It was about 45 days from the time that I requested it. Sometimes they say it takes up to 3 months. So we got this back pretty fast, but it just wasn't fast enough. So what we did, or what you all did as a council by declaring a vacancy in January, the council did not have the authority to do that. So we can't fill a position if we didn't have the authority to fill it. So at this time, I would entertain a motion to reverse what was done at the January and February meetings of declaring a vacancy, to recall that vote and allow the law to be the law. So we will adopt this. We don't need a resolution or ordinance. We just need to adopt this and recognize it, that we're going to follow the law. This is what the Attorney General for Arkansas has told us to do, and I'm not going to challenge the Attorney General's office on something of this nature.
And let me just say this, in thinking this over, to rescind your vote, declaring it a vacancy, I think, in office, I think you need to say declare a vacancy in the election.
Correct.
And so have another vote, so set aside that vote and just declare a vacancy in the election, which would then have Mr. Wise as being continuing to serve until his successor is elected and sworn in, or he resigns.
Will he have to be sworn in again?
No, ma'am, because
No,
he just
he's on.
continues,
But we all had to be sworn in the first time.
because you were
elected this
You
time.
were elected, you were on the ballot, and you were voted in. And even if you were uncontested, this is where it gets confusing, because even Judge Huff's a little frustrated about this. She's not on the ballot, but she was elected in. I'm city attorney of Pocahontas, I was on the ballot, but it wasn't there. You know, they've gotten it where they shortchanged it. If you get on the ballot, you're considered by default to have been elected, but I still had to be sworn in. But with Mr. Wise, he didn't place his name on the ballot. He was to serve, and then technically if his successor had, if Mr. Creasy had not resigned or withdrawn his candidacy at the time that he did and went on and won it, then December 31st, his term would have ended because his successor had been elected and would have been sworn in. So he just continues on in that position.
So he don't need to resign then? Since he was sworn in the other night, he don't need to
No, he
resign?
would not.
No.
No, he didn't, he wasn't.
Oh, you mean Mr. Creasy?
Yes.
Creasy.
Well, technically, that shouldn't have taken place. It wasn't.
He wasn't a qualified elector. Is that a good way to put that? He wasn't.
He wasn't qualified because the council should have declared a vacancy in the election, not in the office. So with that difference.
So we need a motion to rescind, recall our vote from
I'll make it.
January when we declared a vacancy. Correct, Mr. Grider?
So,
We need to vote to rescind the declaration of what we did in January.
right. So the motion should be to rescind the vote to declare a vacancy in office, and vote on that, and then make a motion to declare, and also then make another motion to rescind the vote to appoint Mr. Creasy in that position, and then vote to declare that there was a vacancy in the election and allow Mr. Wise to continue to serve
Okay.
pursuant to this Arkansas Attorney General opinion.
So the first one is to rescind, so let's do that
I'll
first.
make a motion to rescind the vote of Mr. Creasy,
No, the first one needs to be the
the
vacancy
vacancy
in office.
in office. Go ahead, repeat it. Norman.
Pursuant to the, based on the Arkansas Attorney General 2023-006.
Basis on the, yeah, what he said, exactly what he said. You did good.
Okay, so we've got a motion from Penny
Second.
and a second from Mr. Gordon to rescind our January declaration of vacancy
In office.
in office. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstained?
You probably need to do a roll call vote on that one.
Okay,
Okay.
you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Penny, Allen,
Yes.
Tony Berry,
Yes.
Mark Gordon,
Yep.
Laura Smith,
Yeah.
Sue Taylor.
Yes.
And then do I need to call Junior? No, he's absent.
You can call
so
his
that's
name.
fine.
You,
So-
just for the record, you can call his name.
Okay, Junior Wise.
Absent. Okay. So we've rescinded what we've done in January. Now we'll entertain a motion to declare a vacant.
No, now you need to rescind the vote, Mr. Creasy, into that position at the
Okay.
last council meeting.
So we'll entertain a motion to rescind Mr. Creasy's.
The vote would be, the motion needs to be for the city council to rescind the vote selecting and placing Mr. Creasy in Ward 2, Position 1, Alderman.
Can I just repeat after you?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You go ahead and start, and I'll make the motion.
To rescind the vote from the February meeting
To rescind the vote of the February meeting
in which the council
in which the council
selected Jason Creasy
selected Jason Creasy,
to Alderman, Ward 2, Position 1,
Alderman, Ward 2, Position 1,
based on the Arkansas Attorney General Opinion 2023-006.
based on Arkansas opinion on 2022 2023
0006.
0006.
Perfect.
You did good.
Second.
Got a first from Ms. Penny, a second from Mr. Gordon. Do a roll call vote.
Penny Allen,
Yes.
Tony Berry,
Yes.
Mark Gordon,
Yes.
Laura Smith, and Sue Taylor.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, motion carries. So the third motion we're looking for is to declare a vacancy
In an election.
in the election, not in the office, in the
And so
election.
what you would do is you're going to approach that like we would have done in January and say based on Mr. Creasy withdrawing his, you could probably read part of that from the opinion, but based on the fact that Mr. Creasy had withdrawn.
After the ballot was certified.
After being certified on the ballot, and then withdrawing his candidacy and being the person that received the most votes, there's a vacancy in the election.
Okay. I'll make a motion that Mr. Creasy requested to withdraw his
That's it. Yeah.
resignation, and if so, that would allow him to be sworn in as an alderman.
No.
Did I read the wrong one?
I'll go ahead and read it. Who wants to make the motion to repeat after me?
I'll make that motion to
The motion will read that the council finds that there was a vacancy in the election due to the fact that the winning candidate for Ward 2, Position 1 Alderman in the city of Hardy had withdrawn his candidacy after the certification of the ballot.
It's your-
read.
So in layman's terms,
So
this
you made that motion?
Yes.
Yeah.
I second.
first from Smith, second from Taylor, this motion in layman's terms is declaring the vacancy in election.
For Ward 2, Position 1 Alderman.
Okay, roll call vote.
Penny Allen,
Yes.
Tony Berry,
Yes.
Mark Gordon,
Yes.
Laura Smith,
Yes.
and Sue Taylor.
Yes.
For the record, Junior Wise.
And Junior Wise is
Absent.
absent.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, I remember when we had a special meeting before, and whenever you have a special meeting, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because, you know, I learn things every day. Basically, you only have one topic that you're supposed to talk about, is that true?
You can have as many as you specify.
You can have as many in a special meeting?
I've never heard of that being limited.
It's not limited, I
It's-
confirmed.
Yeah.
It's not limited.
Okay, I remember whenever Ernie or something had a special meeting, and it was like we could only discuss one topic, because I went to say something else.
Because that's all
If
that's
it
on the
wasn't on the agenda, because of the nature of it being a special, it's very restricted. In fact, the mayor was wanting to just give y'all some
Okay.
information about the city. I said, no, that's probably, we really need to limit it.
Okay, so it had to be, okay, because I remember being stopped and told, you know, you can't,
Which is right. If it's not
Okay.
on the special agenda, then we can't discuss it at this meeting.
I just didn't want to do anything wrong.
No, you're fine.
My
Yeah,
bad.
well, no, don't be bad. We looked it up and we can declare as many as we need to on a special election and discuss that many.
Okay,
So,
As long as notice is given, and that's all. think it's listed this way.
Okay,
No, that's fine, I'm glad you asked.
Y'all, this is a good letter to keep for your records if somebody asks you, but we've handled that. That is the first item that we've done, so to bring y'all up to speed. Obviously, Mr. Junior Wise is going to roll over at this time, so at our next regular scheduled meeting for March, Mr. Wise will join us. He would have been here today. He had other obligations, so he will join us at our next regular scheduled meeting. And for the record, I've talked to Mr. Creasy. He thanks you all, he appreciates you all, and there you go. The next item on this agenda today for new business is ordinance 2023-3, levy gross receipts tax on lodging, prepared food and beverage. You've got a few statistics and numbers there that I provided to you all to look at. At this time, I'm going to ask that Ms. Caitlin disperse these to you all, just pass it around the table. I'd like to make just a small presentation to you all. So if you'll follow me slide by slide on this, I just want to make some notes and let everybody be on the same page with why we're gathered here today. If you'll kind of not flip ahead and just go through this as you go with me, I'd appreciate it. So the first slide, we start with City of Hardy, gross receipts tax collection on lodging, prepared food and beverage. Slide 2 says our history. The City of Hardy has collected a tax for lodging and a tax for prepared food and beverage since 2001, 22 years ago. The tax rate was introduced at 0.01875 or 1.875 cents per $1. On a $40 purchase today, only 75 cents is applied to the Hardy A&P tax, otherwise hereon referred to as the Hotel, Motel, Restaurant tax in the state of Arkansas. Called that the HMR tax. The United States inflation rate in the City of Hardy. The inflation rate in the United States between 2001 and today is 69.55%, which translates into a total increase of $69.55. This means that $100 in 2001 was equivalent to $169.55 this year. In other words, the purchasing power of a $100 bill in 2001 equals $169 today. The average annual inflation rate between these periods is average 2.43% per year. If you go on to that slide number 4, I've got a nice graph on there I want to draw your attention to. That chart depicts the equivalence of a $100 bill due to compound inflation and consumer price index changes, CPI. All values are equivalent in terms of purchasing power. So if you look at this graph, it goes to 2001 on the bottom. I want you to look at those two dots on the far right. In about 2020 is a dot that represents $144. And if you look at that red dot on the top right, it represents $168. Between 2020 and now, inflation is up $48 just in the value in the last couple of years. So as you can see, we've got an inflation crisis going on across the country. If I move on to slide number 5 and we identify some problems we have, we're undervalued in Hardy, Arkansas. Visitors and tourists continue to enjoy the privilege of lodging and dining in the City of Hardy at a rate of 0.01875 from an outdated ordinance in 2001. Costs have risen to operate. Again stated, the inflation rate since 2001 to 2023 is 69.55%. The City of Hardy cannot continue to advertise and promote our city at this rate of inflation. To bring your attention to some traffic counts, these statistics are from the Arkansas Department of Transportation. Between 6,100 to 8,700 vehicles travel US 63 and US 63B in Hardy every day. In peak months, that traffic count can reach 15,000 per day. The location for Hardy is not a problem. Hardy is the ideal rest stop for traffic to take a pause. Travelers to and from Jonesboro, Mammoth Spring, Batesville, Mountain Home, St. Louis, Kansas City, going to Memphis, Springfield, Little Rock, Fort Smith, and Fayetteville, they all pass through Hardy, Arkansas. And this is an important number to recognize. $6,440,000 was spent in Hardy in the year 2022 that relates to hotels, motels, and restaurants. That's $6.4 million. If you'll go down to that graph, I want to show you the traffic counts. If you go to slide number 6 and look at this with me, I've circled 6,900 vehicles. That is before the bypass. If you go and look at that second larger circle of 8,700 folks, that second dot is at the intersection, which shows to me that there's about 2,600 cars that take the bypass that go around town. So I just want to illustrate that number to you, that we've got between 6,100 and 8,700 coming through town every day. We've got a solution that we can go to on page number 7. It is to update the tax rate to better promote the city of Hardy, Arkansas. A 3% levy will result in an additional $72,400 of annual funding. How much is it going up, you might question? Taxpayers will only see an increase of 1.25%, which amounts to roughly 1 penny per $1 spent. Example here, an additional 10 cents on $10 of a purchase. And for your own knowledge, the current minimum wage in Arkansas is now $11 per hour. And then what will the funds be used for? Well, we want you all to know that we're going to better promote the city of Hardy, to add value to our beautiful parks, recreation areas, to host annual tourism events, to hire a professional marketing developer to advertise the city of Hardy, Arkansas. If you go to slide 8 with me real quick, I want you to look at some numbers. If we go to 2018, there was $5.1 million spent in Hardy at the collection rate of 1.875. That accumulated $96,800. Had we had a collection rate of 3% in 2018, we would have collected $154,000. Now just real quick, go to 2019, we collected 104. We could have collected 167. In 2022, we collected 105. We could have collected 168. In 2021, we collected 120,000. We could have collected 193,000. In 2022, $6.1 million was spent in Hardy. We collected 114,000. We could have collected 118,000. Over the last 5 years, we could have collected an additional $325,000. In 2018 to 2022, total collections, total collected from 2018 to 2022 on slide number 9 was $541,996. We could have collected $867,300. We left $325,000 on the table by not collecting at a 3% rate. Why do we want to do this now? Go to slide number 11 with me, please. Based on our research of consumer sales and use spending, more people are spending money in Hardy, Arkansas. This is human growth. We believe more people are visiting Hardy, Arkansas than ever before, and we're building back a better economy in the United States. More people and more money is now in the economy than ever before. The Small Business Administration and a lot of the COVID-19 grant money has stimulated our economy to where it is today. If you go to slide number 12, what will it look like? Well, $6.4 million is a big number to consider as tax revenue is collected in the city. We have opportunity to build a stronger business community for our full-time residents. This gives us the freedom to invite new businesses to a tourism-friendly market. Businesses will hold a higher value, and there will be more aid available to grow our community. About $72,000 is the estimated calculation. If we have more residents in Hardy, hopefully our homes and our neighbors' homes will all have higher property values to benefit from. Almost done. Slide 13, looking ahead at the new rate. Today's prepared food tax rate in Hardy is 11.125. That number is often hard to calculate sometimes for some business owners. By transitioning to 12.25 with the proposed increase today, on a timeline of May the 1st, that will hit us just in time for the summer season. So we'll be implementing the new tax right before the tourists get here. It is 100% in time for summer 2023 when the majority of our tax is collected. I put together an example on slide 14. We use McDonald's in Hardy. They are our highest contributor of the A&P tax. A quarter pounder with cheese meal includes fries and a Coke. Your subtotal is $7.89. Today's taxes adds 88 cents to your receipt. The new tax rate would add 96 cents. So your old total was $8.77 at McDonald's. Now it's $8.85. Really not a large increase. Real quick, I want you all to know the breakdown of a tax rate. On the right side, the state of Arkansas gets 6.5%. The county of Sharp gets 1.75%. The city of Hardy gets 1%. The city of Hardy, I'm calling it the motel, hotel, recreation, the A&P tax. Right now it's 1.875. So that total tax today, again, is 11.125. There's a side note there. 8.25% of your taxes leaves Hardy, goes to the county, goes to the state. Very little comes back. Very last page, here's our growth strategy, how we're going to scale in the future. May 2023, we're going to start the collection of the new tax levy in the city limits of Hardy. We're allowing 60 days to update the HMR tax rate with businesses. By April 2024 will be America's Great Eclipse. We're expected hundreds of thousands of visitors in Arkansas. Hardy has the highest amount of visibility for totality at 4 minutes and 12 seconds. It's possibly the biggest event in Sharp County we've ever seen. So by summer 2024, after everybody has visited us in April 2024, we hope to offer new events in Hardy for advertising and promoting our natural scenery and beauty in the foothills of the Ozark Mountains. We welcome new residents after the eclipse exposure for our town. In summary, real quick, by approving ordinance 2023-3, the city of Hardy will be well positioned for the summer 2023 tourism season in Arkansas. The proposed levy is currently in the local control of Hardy City Council. It is the council's duty and in the council's ability to act to impose this needed levy for the future of Hardy, Arkansas. I'll take some time and put that all together for you guys. I believe you all have the tax collections from 2018 through today on a specific set of paper. I've got an ordinance prepared, 2023-3. It's the levy gross receipts tax on lodging, prepared food, and beverage. Does anybody on council have any questions for me? Yes, ma'am.
After we had talked, I went through and I Googled other places with taxes.
Oh, good.
In the city of Jonesboro, it's 10.5
One
for
second.
taxes.
Before you start, I've got that list. That's
You already got it.
I've got a list, if you'll
Okay.
pass that around. Go ahead.
The lowest tax there is Nina and Cole, C-O-B-E, and their taxes is 6.25. You got another one here, it's Gilham. It's 159 people in this town, and their tax is 12.625. Now, I figured the reason why theirs is a little bit higher is because they got a bond or something, that they built a bridge or they owe money. So I think that's what made it higher. And my thing is, I'm not for raising taxes per se, just for the A&P. I think if you're going to raise taxes, do it all the way around, the grocery stores, everything. Because, it was said, they're not all paying their taxes, and it is on an honor system. But I think everybody should have to be a part of it in just one specific group, if that makes any sense. It would also revenue more money than what you've already projected it to revenue.
That's a fair statement. That's fair.
Anyway,
A 2% city tax would generate more money
Yes, it
Does
would.
that-
because it's universal and across to everybody.
But we're putting a lot of burden on just one,
Is it a burden to just update the levy when they're already paying it?
they're not paying it.
The whole city would have to be on the ballot? Or-
That's correct. If we were to update the city tax rate from 1% to anything higher, that would be on a ballot and that would be up to the vote of the people. So it's a different course to get where you're getting at.
But again, raising the taxes like that too, that's one issue, but people here coming in for vacationing and stuff like that, they're the ones that are holding the burden of that, not our locals, okay, who have a choice of eating out or not, or stay at a hotel or not, they're here. So doing that 2% straight across the board, that's one way, yes, it would increase our revenues, but at the same time, people are gonna complain that they're raising our taxes, where this tax is for a group, is just a group of individuals going out to eat and to enjoy good things all the time. Like I said, it's a levy that they're already paying. When I go to Little Rock, I'm paying another $25 for a hotel room that I'm paying, $80, $90 on already.
Okay. How many of y'all ever worked in a restaurant here at this table recently in this? How many times have you got chewed out for the taxes being so high? I have, many times. Many times. Well,
They don't look at it, they look at their card, they go swipe and then.
You're talking about a penny
no,
on the
they
dollar.
don't. They don't.
Okay.
For you, they do. But for me, whenever I'm at that register and they're going, how high are your taxes? And whenever I tell them how high it is, and they're going, oh my gosh, I live in Memphis and they're not that high.
There's more
You know,
people to pay a tax though.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I agree. There's more revenue because there's more people, and they do have more money coming in. This is a small town. This is a tourist town. When you raise taxes, people get a little bit testy with it. I mean,
They're gonna pay it.
they will pay it, but somebody gets chewed out for it, and a lot of times that was me at the register. Your wife is a waitress. Have you ever talked to her about it?
And, you know, people paying $14 for a mixed drink, they're not gonna complain about a penny on the dollar.
Well, that's true.
You know,
They're
to
too
be
tough.
honest with you.
Yeah, I agree.
And on your first part, I'm one of them people, in the prior council, it just got poo-poo pretty quick. I would love to see a tax that, for the people that don't come, I see her here, I see some of the people that come and are interested in what's going on. I'd love to see all the people, the tax be lowered and spread out for all the businesses. But we're on a time constraint to get in this, because if we don't do this right now, we'll never be able to do it. A penny on the dollar is not gonna make a difference to people coming here, but it's gonna make a big difference to the AMP trying to advertise for the businesses that we already have. I don't like taxes either,
Well,
but the people that are coming here on vacation, when I go to Florida and I take my kids and wife to lunch and pay $150, what I'm gonna do? Yeah, I'm not doing that, you know, I'm gonna do it, because I'm there.
You're on vacation, you're there to spend money.
Right. I'm just saying, I have dealt with the public, probably more directly than a lot of y'all have here, sitting here. I have dealt with the public since I was 17 years old in this town. And I have waited tables in this town since I was 17 years old. I have went off in other places. I've been to Florida, I was in Dallas, I've been other places. But I've never been chewed out as many times as what I have here in Hardy, Arkansas for our taxes being so high.
Yeah, there's a lot of ugly people that visit here, unfortunately.
I do appreciate what you're saying. I travel for a living, that's part of what I do, and I see the different towns I go to. When I negotiate a Holiday Inn Express for $99 and I pay my bill and it's $156 a month. But that's part of, it's part of what's going on, it's nothing that these towns have done it, and if we don't get in line and catch up a little bit today, we're never going to be able to catch up. It's never going to go any higher from what we're at now. I would like to look at the other solution that you said in the beginning. That would be complicated, but I would love to see
think it should be all the way around instead of just one part.
And at a later,
below standard.
And
But I will say this, in looking at this, based on how Hardy is situated, even if you did one all the way around, it's still gonna impact the restaurants and the hotels, because
Yes.
that's the majority, so I don't think it's gonna change anything.
well, I'm just, I'm here for the people. Nobody wants their taxes up higher. I bet you if you went to knocked on 10 doors and said, what do you think about us raising our taxes a penny? How many of those people would say, sure, go ahead, yeah.
but do those 10 people stay at the Spring River Lodge?
They live here in Hardy, Arkansas.
But they're not in the lodging tax.
All right.
And if it's the hamburger tax, we want to call it, the HMR tax, the cost of everything's gone up. I
I understand that. Do you know what I'd tell the girls that would wait tables? I'd tell them, tourists are a dime a dozen, but locals are gold. You take care of your local people, because those are the people who are you're gonna survive with in the wintertime. Sue Taylor, I waited on you many times, didn't I? What did I do for you special that you always liked? Kept you coming back for more? What would I do?
Heat my syrup.
Yes, I would. I would. Those are little things that bring Sue Taylor back to my section. And she liked it.
But did Sue Taylor complain about the tax on the bill? That's the point that we're here to make.
That is the point. Yes, you are correct.
Councilman Gordon, you had your hand raised.
I have a weird, before I moved here, I was a tourist. And now that I live right on the river, and I realize that, when I live over here on the river, we have a strange relationship with the tourists here, but we are a tourist town.
Yes, we are.
What the AMP is able to do is to not only help tourists, but to help the citizens here. We complain about one thing or another, but we don't have any amenities. The more A&P tax we get, the more things we can do to build this city up and make it look better, the more things we get. I don't like driving an hour and get me some Popeye chicken. You know, if the more we do, the more we're gonna get. I also don't like, competing with the tourists on the river during the summer, so you have to find your own special place. But we have that strange relationship with them like a mother-in-law, we gotta have them.
No, I,
And a penny on a dollar, it's not gonna hurt us. The people who elected me, I'm the same way. I didn't go down the street and say, hey, I just wanna let y'all know we're voting on a tax, because the minute you say tax, nobody wants to pay them. But a penny on a dollar, we're not at the level of other places that are equal to us. The whole situation why we're here is if we do not catch up today, we're never gonna catch up. And if everybody else moves higher and people accept the taxes in these other places, we're not gonna be able to, they say, oh crap, they're okay with it. We're not gonna be able to come back and say, we're gonna raise ours to 2%. That's the whole thing. And the people, none of us, have you stayed at Renee's Hotel? I haven't.
no.
None of us are gonna do that. If I eat at her place and I pay $1 extra, I'm cool
My
with that,
son
really.
goes there quite often with his kids for the swimming pool. Yes, they do. But that's like people ask me, they'll say, have you ever been to the motel? No, I live here, I own my house, why would I go to a motel? You know, I mean, that's simple as that, but I do send a lot of people there. I send a lot of people there. I send a lot of people to the local restaurants. I do it all the time. I'm in a canoe rental in the summertime. I do a lot of advertising for Hardy, Arkansas. I do it every day of my job. And I talk very highly of the river. And speaking of the river, I have river property. You know how many times that people go over there and swing off my rope swing and I have to run them off? You know. But I'm just saying, I just don't think it's fair. I think it should be an all-around tax.
Okay, so that's
That
very,
is my opinion.
We're not able to address that tonight, though.
that's not on the agenda today
No,
to
it's
levy our
not.
tax of 2%. That's up to the voters. That's something we can definitely look at. I would love to look at that.
But with Tracy being here, I'd like to say if I come in there and I bought an $8 barbecue and you said, well, it's gonna cost 8 cents more, there's no way I'm out of here. You know, come on.
That's not happening.
And you're collecting, our businesses here, what the big problem I had with A&P, with people think it's their money. It's not your money. You are collecting a tax.
Just over tax,
It's not
like
your
the
money.
state tax. It's fair.
You want things here, but you don't want to give up nothing to get something else. And that's the way the world works.
If we want nice things, we have to pay for nice
We have to
things.
move up there. I don't like taxes at all, I promise you.
Who does?
And I get wore out with it. But I travel when I see other people knock my head off when I'm traveling around on food and on lodging. We're still not high.
No,
It's not high.
I went last night, took my grandkids, we went to, can't even think of, it was like $55, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I threw down a tip, and my granddaughter's like, Grammy, don't do that, we need that money. I mean, she wanted to go and take it. I said, no, don't do that. But I'm just saying, that was a lot of money for a senior citizens, 2 kids, and a child.
It is, but for a local, again, it's a choice.
Yes, I understand that.
And I
I'm not
understand,
stupid.
that,
I understand
and I
that.
understand what you're saying too. I just, but like we were saying, it's just like another penny on a dollar, they're gonna pay it.
It's not just at 1 penny. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the whole picture.
Well, we need to think also with us being on the council, another way to look at this, when you're driving down your road and people voting for you or raising Cain about the potholes in their road, because everybody thinks that with, $50,000 we ought to be able to repave the entire city. These things that people want and these improvements we want with the city, you have to have the money. And we have to generate it someplace.
But
And in
then,
this case, with the restaurants and the lodging, that's a lot of money coming in that we can do a lot of things.
that tax does not pave our roads.
It's not gonna pave our roads, but it'll make it to where we're not spending money we have here to do other things. If A&P has all that money, there's things they can do if you get down.
So we can use city
No,
money.
It's not gonna be paving our roads, it's not gonna do that.
The bad example, okay.
No, it's not.
But you realize what I'm saying?
Actually, I'm enjoying the banter.
I don't enjoy it.
Did you all get a chance to review this list that I presented to you? At the top of that list, Eureka Springs, which is on the other end of 412, that we often have people come through here and say, I'm on my way to Eureka Springs. They have a 3% lodging on their food and on their lodging and their food. Hot Springs, Arkansas, similar to our Main Street, 3% on lodging on food and lodging. Russellville, similar for a tourist attraction, 3% on lodging and food. North Little Rock, they have 3.5% on lodging. The state levy says you can't go above 3%. They're allowed to go higher because they have a higher population, and they took advantage of it and maxed it out at 3.5%. They're at 3% on food. Van Buren, Arkansas, 3% on lodging. Cherokee Village, similarly, is 2% on lodging and food. Clinton, Arkansas is 3% on both. Bella Vista is 2% on lodging, 1% on food. Little Rock is 4% on lodging, 2% on food. This is pulled as of today. There are other councils across the state of Arkansas looking at what we're looking at today. There's a bill, House Bill 1027, that's proposed in the legislature that takes away the ability of our local council to declare our own tax rate. And as soon as that bill becomes signed by the governor's office, the city council no longer has the authority to control their own tax rate. That's the push today.
We go ahead and make a motion to vote. I mean, this is not gonna be something that, I mean, and I respect Penny, but Penny's not gonna suddenly cave to that, and I appreciate that on anybody that's not, but we just need to vote. We all know what.
This is business.
This is a business deal.
I'll make a motion that we vote.
Well, no, you need
That's
to waive a
what
motion,
ordinance-
put
The ordinance in.
first ordinance on first reading.
Oh, okay, we'll do that.
So we've got a motion to make an ordinance on first reading by Mr. Berry,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Smith. We need a roll call vote or voice vote. Roll call vote, please.
Penny Allen.
I have to abstain.
Okay. Tony Berry.
Yes.
Mark Gordon.
Yes.
Laura Smith.
Yes.
And Sue Taylor.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2023-3, an ordinance amending chapter 2.56, section 03 of the City of Hardy Code of Ordinances to levy a gross receipts tax on lodging and prepared food and beverage, providing for the emergency clause and for other purposes. Whereas the City Council of the City of Hardy previously enacted ordinance number 2001-15 and 2017-4 pursuant to Arkansas Code annotated sections 2675-601 through 2675-618, which states that the city of the second class may, by ordinance of the governing body thereof, levy a tax not to exceed 3% upon the gross receipts or gross proceeds from those sources as identified in Arkansas Code annotated 2675-601 at sequence. Whereas the city of Hardy has many benefits to offer to the visitors and to the city and is presently not taking full advantage of its resources for the attraction of visitors and residents. And whereas the development of such resources would result in many economic and other benefits to the city of Hardy and its inhabitants and visitors. And now therefore it be ordained by the City Council of the City of Hardy, Arkansas, Section 1, Chapter 2.56, Section 03 of the City of Hardy Code of Ordinances is amended to read as follows. Section 2.56.03-1, levy the tax for lodging. Pursuant to Arkansas Code annotated 2675-601 at sequence, the tax is hereby levied upon the following. A, there is hereby levied the tax of 3% upon the gross receipts or gross proceeds from the renting, leasing, or otherwise furnishing of all hotel, motel, vacation, rental houses, rooms, cabins, bed and breakfasts, campgrounds, condominiums, or other similar sleeping accommodations for profit in the City of Hardy, provided, however, that such accommodations shall not include the rental or lease of such accommodations for periods of 30 days or more, and shall not apply to a buyer's occupancy of real estate prior to closing, nor to a seller's occupancy of real estate after closing. B, the tax levied by this section shall be collected from the purchaser or user of the accommodations by the person furnishing such accommodations. Such person shall remit tax collections to the Advertising and Promotion Commission the first day of the second month after the month the tax is collected. accompanied by reports on forms to be furnished by the Advertising and Promotion Commission. All establishments remitting this tax shall be entitled to a 2% discount on the amount due if such tax is paid on or before the 20th of the month after the tax is collected. The proceeds from the tax levied by this section shall be for the benefit of the Advertising and Promotion Commission. Collection of said tax shall begin May 1st, 2023. 2.5.03-2, levy of tax for prepared food and beverages. Beverage pursuant to Arkansas Code annotated section 2675, 601 sequence, of tax is hereby levied upon the following. A, there is hereby levied a prepared food and beverage tax of 3% upon the portion of the gross receipts or gross proceeds received by restaurants, cafes, cafeterias, delicatessens, drive-in restaurants, carry-out restaurants, concession stands, convenience stores, grocery store, restaurants, mobile food, retail food establishments, bars, private clubs, private chefs, and any platform, online or offline, which advertises and offers to a purchaser prepared food and beverage and accepts payment from the purchaser for such prepared food and beverage, from the sale of prepared food and beverages for on-premises or off-premises consumption. That such tax shall not apply to gross receipts or gross proceeds of organizations qualified under 26 U.S.C. section 501c3. B, this tax levied by this section shall be collected from the purchaser of the prepared food and beverage by the person furnishing such food and beverage. Such person shall remit tax collections to the Advertising and Promotion Commission the first day of the second month after the month the tax is collected, accompanied by reports on forms to be furnished by the Advertising and Promotion Commission. All establishments remitting this tax shall be entitled to a 2% discount on the amount due if such tax is paid on or before the 20th day of the month after the tax is collected. The proceeds from the tax levied by this section shall be for the benefit of the Advertising and Promotion Commission. Collection of said tax shall begin May 1st, 2023. Section 2, conflicting ordinances. If for any reason any portion of this ordinance is held to be invalid, such invalidity shall in no way affect the remaining portion or portions thereof which are valid, but such valid portion or portions shall be and remain in full force and effect. Any ordinances or part of any ordinance in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. Section 3, emergency clause. The City Council hereby finds that there is an immediate need for efficient collection and management of the tax that is levied in order to provide the inhabitants of the city with funds for financing city projects, and an emergency exists, and this ordinance, being necessary for the preservation of public peace, health, and safety, shall take effect and be in operation immediately upon its passage and approval. Passed and approved this day, February 2023.
Motion for the next two readings.
Or you want me to read it or waive it? Read it.
By title only.
By title.
So waive it except by title only.
Mhm.
So I've got a motion to read by title only,
Waive the second, third.
waive the second and third reading
Except title only, by title only.
by title only.
Correct.
First, you got a second from Ms. Sue. Roll call vote.
Yes.
First by Flora, second by Sue.
Allen,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Gordon,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
and Taylor.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2023-3, an ordinance amending chapter 2.56, section 303 of the City of Hartsville ordinance to levy a gross receipts tax on lodging and prepared food and beverage, providing for the emergency clause and for other purposes.
We've waived second and third reading.
Yes.
All in favor of accepting this
No,
ordinance?
there needs to be a motion to pass this.
I make a motion that we pass ordinance number 2023-3.
Got a first from Ms. Laura Smith.
Second.
Got a second from Mr. Tony Berry. Do a roll call vote. All in favor?
Allen, Barry,
Yes.
She didn't vote. Hold on.
oh, sorry. Allen,
Yes.
okay. Barry,
I think I said yes.
Okay.
Gordon,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
and Taylor.
Yes.
So the ordinance passed unanimously. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Everybody voted for it?
Go ahead and call Junior Wise for the record, I suppose.
Okay, and Junior Wise.
Absent. Passed 5-0.
Now we need a motion for the emergency clause.
I make a motion we enact the emergency clause.
I
Second that.
Got a first from Mr. Gordon, a second from Ms. Smith. Roll call vote to the emergency clause.
Allen,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Gordon,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
and Taylor.
Yes.
Motion carries to enact the emergency clause.
Do what?
And that finalizes that? Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are we through? We're at, I want to see.
So ordinance 2023-3 passes, now is law. And that is all we have on our agenda today. Does this relate to the tax, Mr. Gordon?
It is,
Okay, go ahead.
in a way.
Do we want
It
to?
is, it
Okay.
is. I think, I'm glad we did this. I think we have two representatives from the A&P. I think the real problem we have here, aside from lodging, just the collection of the taxes, and I'm 100% sure that everybody is not paying their full share. There's places you can go here, and if you watch, if you pay with a credit card or you pay with cash, it goes to two different places. In the honor system, I don't know how we can make that better, but everybody's not paying their taxes.
I thought, was that not a?
From my research, we have-
They had to pay it within the next month or something.
Mayor,
I think there's.
Yes, sir.
go ahead, I want to hear what you got.
Thank you. I was just going to say, from my research, this council has the ability to audit bank records, and we can utilize that if we need to.
And I don't think the council, I think the commission does.
The commission has the ability to audit bank records should we need to. So, in responance to your,
It's theirs to manage on that.
Well, do
we've
they-
not enforced that and
didn't it say
utilized
one
that
of
at this
these
time, but we
clauses
can.
that they are supposed to pay it within the next month or so after they collect it?
Yes, ma'am.
Didn't it say that?
But that's the thing is, once again, the state is able to do their own thing for the state sales tax or one that's voted in, because a regular sales and use tax goes to Little Rock and then comes here. This is the only tax that's collected locally. So the burden is also on local commissions to enforce that and do audit, as you said. Because I've heard that being discussed in the past.
Well, I've seen also, I know Mr. Berry probably doesn't have mixed drink, but any of you that do, there's places you can go here, and if you order mixed drink, it's on the line item. I'm just guessing.
Oh, you're right, you're right.
Even the liquor now is a line item like food in some of these restaurants, and I know if they're not paying their liquor taxes, they're certainly.
So-
If you go order a mixed drink, like in Jonesboro somewhere, they'll tax you for the soda separately than they will
Exactly.
the drink. But
Sounds
there's
like
also
my
some places,
pizza, I buy a pizza.
there's some places in Little Rock that are charging you for ice.
Well, liquor is being charged as a food item.
So, Mr. Gordon, in response to what you're saying about people in this city not paying their A&P tax, I've got letters on my desk to remind everybody of our processes and to put them on notice if they're behind, of repercussions that are fully within our authority and the commission's authority to enact upon. And then everybody moving forward will get a notice of the new tax levy as well. So they'll be receiving some letters from the mayor's office, the city of Hardy, updating them on what we expect moving forward.
Good.
So-
I mean, we've done this, let's make it fair for everybody.
We've done this 22 years, it's got to be fair.
Yeah.
Well, some do pay.
Yes, some pay, and 90% of them do. The 10% that don't, we need to challenge them. And we have the authority to pull their business permit in this city if they don't pay that tax.
McDonald's has a POS system, and theirs is go at it's boom, there it is.
Sure.
On some of these, I ain't sure.
So I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting at this time, since this is a special meeting and this is all that's on our agenda today. So I need a first to adjourn. Got a, okay, first, and I had a second over here from Ms. Penny.
Okay.
Voice vote, all in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Great. Motion to adjourn passes. City council's adjourned.